Okay, hope we're all doing well, guys. Just let me know that you can hear me loud and clear, so I know everything's running smoothly today. Looks like we've got a few people in now. Probably get a few more start joining us as we kick off. G'day Paul, how are you, mate? All good, all right. Well, let's get going then, guys. Thanks for joining us, and let's just kick it off with saying happy holidays. Merry Christmas. I hope we're all looking forward to a big Chrissy. I know I am looking forward to winding down at the Christmas. All the work we've done in the new place to get it ready for, we've been lumped in with the Christmas day, so been frantically getting things organised, so it'd be great just to sit down and relax with the kids and the family. So really looking forward to it. We don't have to go anywhere either, which is a change for us for Christmas. Normally we're driving all over the place with the kids. So it'll be great. Yeah, so I hope we all hope we all enjoy the Christmas period, and hope we all stay safe in the new year. Like I was saying, so anyone that's new, welcome. It's the last one probably for about just a week or so. We'll just kick it off. I'm not 100% sure of the dates yet. Yeah, somewhere around the 3rd of Jan or 4th, whatever that Thursday is after the new year. We'll get back into this live streams then. But for anyone that's new, welcome. Look at some of the old stuff we've had through at the YouTube site. Yeah, and then we'll kick it off again next year. So thanks for joining us, guys. What you can see on the screen, you can see the top left-hand corner. Join us on Twitter. We'll be getting active again on Twitter, or more active anyway. 4th, there we go. The 4th of Jan. That's my brother's birthday, so that'll be interesting. Good work, Paul. Yeah, so anyone that's new, join us on Twitter at the top left-hand corner. You can link into us on Facebook or LinkedIn. Any the other ones there. You'll see that in the top right-hand corner, and the bottom right, which is probably most important, on YouTube. Just link into us on YouTube, and you'll get anytime we go live on anything, you'll just get a bit of a heads up if you're not actually on the app. And if you're not, I don't know why. So give it a go. Anyway, let's get started. So again, for anyone that's new, we only give general advice. So what we're talking about today and any other streams is just our opinions on different markets and what we're looking at and what we've actually got going with the alerts. We give you a bit of a heads up sometimes, but everything's got to be obviously your own risk. We don't give specific advice at all. So let's get cracking now. I'll get rid of that. And I've got to change screens just so we can see the charts before I forget. Oh, no, that's that one, isn't it? There we go. So that's your full screen. All right. I'll just skip that. Let's kick it off with the usual. Let's look at the indices. So they've been backing off a bit since, I think they confirmed it, was it overnight? Congress actually put through, and so it's really the tax reform. The all hyped, everyone's been waiting for that, and they said they were going to do it before the end of the year, so it looked like they had it all planned, pre-planned, but apparently that's got through, and I think it's just in Trump's hands to sign it off into law. So it'll be interesting. Apparently it's a bit of a, from what I've been reading, it's a bit of a mixed bag on that. Obviously, if you're a proponent of it all, then it's going to be good for, good for the markets, good for growth, good for jobs, which I tend to think that's a bit of rubbish. So I'm just a bit negative towards that. I think if you're a company getting a tax break, yeah, you'll flow some back into growth, I'm guessing, but you'll also flow some back into your pockets. That's the way I view things anyway. Probably a bit of a negative turn, but we'll see how that all pumps through. Yeah, so it's looking like it's benefiting the companies, lower tax rates on companies, and also it helps out the wealthy. But I think it leaves a lot to whether or not it helps out the middle to lower class is yet to be seen, and whether it actually creates jobs. I think what it will do, you'll find. I read somewhere, I don't know what company it was, but it's going to give a $1,000 Christmas bonus to its employees once this got ticked off. So you'll probably find that would be a bit of mergers and acquisitions going about in the US, and that's going to be probably bigger dividends might get paid out as a bit of an incentive too. So I think people now will be looking to see how that's going to affect growth going forward, and whether they stay the distance, stay course on shares, or whether they bail, lock in some of these gains. There might be a bit of a pullback, but the last couple of days, realistically, we haven't seen too much. That would have happened anyway. You would have expected a bit of a pullback just because where we are coming into Chrissy. And personally, I'd want to be locking in some gains coming in the Christmas period and New Year, so I can just sit back and relax and not have to worry about things overly. If you're loaded to the hilt, yeah, you're going to be worried because the markets sometimes they're quiet, but there's other times when they can really move over that period too, because it's light on. Things can be bullied around a bit. They could really take off if some news comes out in between there and people are away. The markets can move, so I think it's prudent to book in some profits, especially with the way the US has been going. They've been powering ahead. Now, so that's a Dow, what you got on the screen there. Let's just make that a bit thicker. There we go. So again, nothing's really changed there. A couple of down days, but nothing significant. Really nothing at all, to be honest. That's the S&P. Same thing. It had that little pop up. They've just been approved. They were up, I think, not last night, the night before, and it was just last night they were down on the S&P. But it was only 0.02 or something like that. 0.02%, so really bugger all. It's closer to break even than anything else. The FTSE. Let's go to the weekly. It's better to see on the weekly. That's starting to look like it's going to tip up through that 76. Tip up. You don't tip up. You kick up and you tip over. There you go. I'll get the terminology right. That's looking like it's going to push up through 76. And then what you'd be looking for if you're wanting to enter, rather than just watching it and buying it on the break through 76, it could be a washout and then rolling over. Just look for that high low to work some buys off there. It's in a beautiful zone. Look at that weekly stochastics. Pulled back. The buys have been soaking up at higher levels, around that 73 mark on the last pullback. The strength has been quite good by the sellers, but the buying is just being soaking up easily. So it looks like that's kicking on with it. That's on the weekly anyway. A bit extended up here on the daily, but it could easily just pop up, pull back, build that high low we're looking for, and then on we go. All right. I got a feeling I'm going to get some stick by Davin today. He's on. He hasn't been able to tune in. He's been quite busy, but now he's determined to tune in and give me some stick today. The last stream before Chrissy. By the way, we've just got a new trade that's just kicked off today, BPT. If it really kicks off hard, that's mine. That's my idea. But if it doesn't, it's Davin's. All right, let's go. All right. I can't stop my laughing now. The DAX, let's look at the DAX. That's backed off the last couple of sessions, but that's still, could easily hold that high low around that 13,000 mark and then kick off. I mean, the DAX, I think they've got a few little issues with their politics and government and all that sort of stuff. So there's nothing to say that it can't hold a high low and just kick off. I mean, look at the weekly. It's just punched up. It really had this strong extended move up to 13,000, backed off, built a little high low, and then popped through. And it's probably going to consolidate around here, and it might go again. I mean, again, you look at that move back, look at the stochastics. The pressure's been pretty good by the sellers, but the buyers are soaking it up again. So they're soaking up around that 13,000 mark, which leads me to believe that this thing could easily go again. It's just got to, the market's really got to flush people out of the market before they can gather enough strength to kick on again. Hang Seng. Yeah, not much to be said about that. It's the same sort of thing. It's had a good move up, obviously, the last few years. It's powering along. That could be just that nice little area to kick on again. And the Nikkei. There you go. It's ready to go through that 23,000, doesn't it? Holding higher lows into it. Buyers are really starting to stack up. And look at the weekly. It's ready to pop, I'd say. But we'll see. All right. So the XJO, let's take a quick look at that. See where we stand. That's pushed up as we expected. We were looking for that second leg down. It was about here. We're looking for that potentially second leg down just to wash out a few more of these buyers. But instead, it's started holding those high lows, which is really good. Once it started holding here, we started kicking up again. We sent out that alert on the STW. So anyone that doesn't know, the STW you can trade as a proxy. It's on the ASX to the XJO. Your top 200, it's an ETF, which you can easily trade. And let's get that up. And we're looking at that popping through the highs. That's it there. So pretty much the same, apart from being a bit choppier, pretty much the same structure. Well, pretty much identical to the same structure as the XJO. So it's something that's easily tradable on the ASX. And look at that, that's just kicking off. So that's looking quite nice. It's just extending through those highs. And we see the XJO, same sort of structure. So it's looking positive. It's looking just to kick on. So that'll be nice. Really nice to finish finish the year on a high note. We've had a crack of the last few days. So if we can continue that on, it would be nice to tick on to that 90% mark. We're going at it, but probably need a few more shares in the portfolio at the moment. All right, let's get into it. Let's just get and see where some of these stocks are. Let's start off. I'll talk about this one. Let's kick it off. Actually, now let's go over to, this is what I was meant to do. BPT. What happened there? So let me just get something fixed up first. What am I looking for? Watch lists, current active alerts. Plus BPT. There we go. So that's the new one, BPT. Look at that structure. Yeah, that's mine. Look, I'll take that. Sorry, Dave. No, that's kicking off nicely. Look at that. The length of, say, 2 years nearly. It's kicked off to the end of this year, but it's spent a good part of a year and a half to 2 years of just chopping around those lows, holding that base, holding some higher lows, and it's just started to extend higher into the end of the year. So that's on the weekly is quite strong. Look at the daily. It's poised. You can see the selling's been quite strong, but it's been holding at high lows, especially with this last move down, which corresponds or coincides with that. That move down from 120, that's quite good selling pressure, but it was easily soaked up by the buyers, and they've actually built a high low, and we've just got that inside trade through the 115 mark. So we're expecting that to extend the highs through 120 and above and just kick on. The other one we've got able to take a partial at 120 on LVH. That's another really nice one. They're doing some really good things. Mate of mine he works at the NRW. I keep forgetting which one they are, but let me just check what the actual company is. Where are we? NWR Communications. So he gets me the information. He just sends across the stuff they put out on Friday. We have a bit of a chat, and this one doing some good things. So he likes them. I reckon the charts are looking great. So it's worth taking a note of these. And LVH, like I said, we've taken a profit. We've got our second half, the remaining of the alert locked in at 105, and we got into that, if I remember correctly, 102.5. So just on this breakup through here, through those highs. So that's looking great. Like that one. What was it here? 102.5 just through here when it popped up. Went on, spent a lot of time doing nothing, so we got in, and then it spent a time just washing out some of those late buys, pretty much retesting that 105 zone, just a touch above it, and it's just taken off again. So we expect that just to continue on into the new year. The other ones, where am I? LVH. So we've taken a partial on that. ACX was a cracker. Obviously, the good news, if anyone doesn't know, Oracle offered a buyout at 780, I think it was. So it's gapped up. Just after that news, it was over the weekend, they offered that. So the shareholders obviously still got to agree to it, which, I mean, why wouldn't you? If you bought in anywhere around here, why would you knock back a $2 gain? Happy to have a 100% buyout, so they've got to agree to that. And I think it's going to get through court. I guess the minor issues, but that's looking good. And you'd expect it just to grind higher towards that 780 level. But that's great. Got a good little partial on that. We'll just see how we'll just ride it. I think the remaining is at 745. We put it. Remaining stop exit 745. So I wouldn't expect this to roll over. So really, we're just expecting this to keep grinding higher. So that's a cracker. And SGM, we got that one yesterday. So anyone that's got that, just be wary. We've taken a partial just below 16, 15.95. Yep, on that little spike yesterday into the highs, but that longer term structure, look at that, looks great. And then remaining risk is just below that 15. It might be right smack on 15. Yep, at 15. So look, that weekly, look at that, and we're looking for this kind of move. So we've got that leg up. We've had that big washout. consolidation, built that higher low just as buyers started stepping in a bit earlier. Sorry, at higher levels around that 13 mark, and it's starting to work its way back up. So you'd basically take from that leg, say 11 to 16, just over that $5 move from 13 to somewhere around 18. So if that gets up to 18, yeah, we'll be loving that. We'll just see how much we can ride that second half, but it's looking really good either way. So that's it. We've only got the 4 going at the moment, and the BPT is just ticking around that 115. It's kicked up to 116.5. Acquisition of further Otway and base interest, so they're doing some good things. Good volume, everything's going quite well with those. So that's us for the alerts. As such, that's what we've got running. There's been a few we're obviously keeping an eye on, but we've got one more. I don't think it's ticked off that we're looking at. BLG, if they can push through 40, we're happy to get into that one and just see if they continue on, because that's a nice chart. I mean, that's a beautiful chart actually. Blue glass. It's only obviously a small one. You look at some of the volume coming through. There's enough on the offer. If it does trade through there, there's more than enough on the offer to tick it off. But that weekly chart looks great. You've had a big push up, spent a lot of time, good part of a year, just holding, washing people out, and it started lifting again. So you got a higher low, not so much here. It's working off that base around 22.5, 23. Got a higher low at 30, building another high low now. If we get that high low, that's pretty much going to be confirmed through 40. I'd say that'll take out the 42, 43 mark into new highs, and away we go. So that's looking great. So that's us. Get ready, guys, just to put in some ideas too. We've got Paul. I've got a few just going to go through, so I'll start it off. I got an email from Paul. He was just talking about his sectors, how he's concentrating more on sectors. So I'll go over that. And Helen was talking about S32, which the longer term looks great. I've had that on the radar for a while, but we just haven't sent an alert on it. Basically, couldn't tell you why, to be honest. But we'll have a look at the longer term weekly charts. It looks really nice. Now this is one, obviously from NWR. This is something they've been pushing for the company. It's called CRO, Surelto Limited. Now I thought I'd just bring it up because it's a real specky. Obviously it's quite small. It's only done 30,000 or 50, probably maybe 50,000. I'm guessing around the 31, 32 mark. But this is only showing the one exchange in the ASX. I'm not sure what it's done on the other exchange, but it could be a little bit more volume than that. Either way, it's next to nothing. You can see there's not a lot on the offer, so it's more that I just wanted to talk about this. I think it was a good little example, and you can see they've done nothing for a while. It's been hanging around that 10 cent mark through here, starting to build, and it's just really just the last, I guess, year or so. It's just been building around 3. Holding, it's just starting to hold some high lows, and we're just getting this little pop up to 7. We're just retracing off that, or just contracting off those highs. And by contracting, I mean lower highs, lower lows, just pushing down, and that's just squeezing out a few of these late buyers, potentially that are bought into it just above 5, 5.5. I mean, this is only a small stock, don't forget, but the price structure's there. It looks quite good, and I've had some good news flow out. So, just chatting with Peter, he was saying. Announcement for Australia today further progresses their movement towards cash flow positive, and they've come out. They've come out with some results. Well, they come out with some good results today, which is revenue upgrade. I think they've upgraded the 2008 revenue. So there you go, right in front of me, isn't it? Pleased that the business is tracking extremely well. We'd like to update the market as follows. Pilot projects are ongoing, and results are pleasing with more national franchise groups and retail operations joining the pilot phases. Contracts have been signed with a number of new customers, including national franchises. So they got, if you can get this all off the website, I'm guessing. It's looking good. The fundamentals are really starting to support, and I would expect more buyers to come in as it gets the publicity, as it gets a bit of a, they have a bit of a marketing on this, as the word gets around. This could be a bit of a kicker, and you can see how low it is too, and around 5 to 6 cents. This could be one that targets that 10 cent mark and really kicks on. But we'll see how it's going. To let you know what they do, formerly Motopia. That's interesting. I actually hold that. I didn't realise it's in my, I forgot that they were Motopia. I hold these from years ago when they were Motopia, and it looks like they're starting to kick on, so that'd be nice if they do. It's a company that owns and operates technology assets and services that enable modernization of businesses' IT systems via the conversion, migration, and management of server-based latency data and systems to the cloud. So we'll see how that goes. It's worth just keeping an eye on it. It's only, like I said, very small. Very, very small. Oh, yep. Just got a few long-termers as an idea. Yeah, so what we wouldn't mind getting into as well is more categorizing, this is after chatting with a few people, categorizing our alerts in a way to some shorter term, smaller caps, say longer term, bigger trades we want to do, some of the longer term trades we were looking at. I mean, because a lot of them are based off more the weekly structure. There's some that's obviously on the daily, which would be your shorter term trades, but there's some that, and some just a continuation trades. You're just looking for a little pop up or a little leg up, take advantage, get a few % under your belt. We haven't been getting into those too much because a lot of them that we are looking at are your smaller ones that we're looking for that next big leg up. But what we might start to do into 2018 is categorizing them, putting something that's easily recognizable within the app that will show you what sort of, give you a heads up to what view we're taking on it, more a longer term view, just to be a lot clearer. Whether it's a bigger stock that we're looking at, smaller ones, something's more specky, and so on. So you can pick and choose which you like as well. Now, there we go. So that's that one there. Now I'm just reading through the comments there, longer terms. Yeah, no worries. So that was something we chatting about with Peter. Now we've got Paul sending an email about sectors. So he's getting into looking more at the sectors to get a good heads up of what's happening and what's moving. And he said he was looking at the retail sector. So that was kicking off nicely. We've looked at that in the past, and I think it's just heading higher. It's got nice structure in there. So there's obviously something, whether it's just coming to Chrissy, I don't know, but he's getting some good trades off by focusing on that. And really getting in, and it's a good idea too. I think everyone should be getting an idea of what sectors are moving, what are hot. Like I said, I look at it occasionally, not a lot, but more just to remind myself what's moving and what's not, and then start to probably look at those names in that sector. But with the filters that we've got going, Woolies and Wesfarmers, we'll look at those, yeah. The filters we got going on here, you tend to see them, like you see these stocks will be popping up, so you know that they're moving, and then you can just keep them on I'll flick through and just see what's looking good, and then you tend to get a few in the same sort of area. So obviously I'll put them on another alerts and give them a couple of levels. So for instance, this one, if I think it's going to be a buy, I don't want to see it go below 115, so I'll alert it for 115 low. If that triggers, okay, just probably take it off the list or just reassess it. But what I want to see is things build, so I'll alert it on the upside too. If it gets to 135, maybe I want to take more notice on what's happening on it. So that's, by doing all that process, you'll see quite a few that'll tick off in that sector that's running hot anyway. But it's always good, I do it once every few weeks, once a week, just to tick through the sectors, just to remind myself what's going. Are they starting to look extended? So maybe if it's getting extended on the sector, if it's been, probably overly hot, then maybe what I've got going, I just want to be more careful, tighten the risk up a bit. Because it's obviously, when you're trading, there's going to be times when you want to let it open up a bit. When you think the upside's quite high, there's high probability it's a really strong upside move. But if you think it's getting a bit low probability of a good upside move or good continuation, maybe that's the time to start looking to tighten things up. And that, I think, by looking at sectors is one of those ways just to help. So Paul's, let me go over here. Paul's looking at Woolies. I haven't looked at those just yet. All right, so you can see that. That's the only thing I could probably say about this one is that you're going to come up to, we may expect a bit of a reaction up towards 27.75. This is a very interesting price structure. What generally it would lead to, I want to get rid of that, don't I? Let's try again. So this is your daily, obviously. I'm looking for potential. If it gets up here, you may expect a bit of a reaction. At the moment, it is holding high lows into that level. We may get some reaction there. We may blow it out. Who knows? The interesting part where we've got this move up, pullback, a retest, and then failure. It pushed down and took out this low, but you can see that that really wasn't that much, was it? Well, I'll make that straight. Took out that low, but this really, you would have expected not this type of move, maybe an extended move, and then maybe build, and then go build that lower high, and then go again. But instead, it was more of a blowout move. So it was sort of that retesting. So for me, longer term over, what is it? Oh, what's that? Since May, it's more just choppy between those two levels. So we might get and it is extended up here. You can see on the daily, getting a bit extended up towards those 2780. But it may just react off here, or it may just turn around and just blow straight through it, depending. But the longer term weekly, it's had a big, I mean, the thing is on its side, definitely. That big move down from, was it $39 down to sort of that 20 to 21 mark, $21 mark. Nearly a 50%. It's just come off the share price. And it's just starting to hold. I mean, that could just be that high low, and it's holding again, and up she goes, and keeps grinding its way back up to that, you know, the $39 mark. And West Farmers. Whereas I think the weekly, that's choppy too. That's stuck in between that range. I mean, look how longer term that is. That's from 2013. It's been holding, oscillating just above and below, so a bit below $40, up towards 45. I guess easily tradable from low to high, but just beware, we're starting, the way I'd view this, we're starting to get up towards those highs. You know, so maybe that's going to be a bit of a reaction back down again. Who knows, obviously, but you can see that the MA is really through here been fair, not flat, I wouldn't say, but the market's been oscillating between above, overbought, oversold, overbought, and so on. So for me, the weekly's not shown massive strength. I mean, the daily's looking good. We're starting to get away from the MAs, meaning it could be a bit of a reversion to the mean back again, and we might start looking for that lower high, and then it works its way back down again. You know, from the weekly chart, we head back towards that 40 mark. Who knows? I mean, and we are starting to get a bit away from that MAs on the weekly charts, and we overextended on the weekly. So yeah, it's just something to take note. We could come into a bit of resistance up here, a bit of selling, but see how it goes. What else we got? Was there something else you're looking at, Paul? Well, there was something else, I was sure of it. That's not it, was it? Oh, unread. Yeah. Wow, so MTS. You're not on that one, are you? I don't think. Oh, that looks nice. Unfortunately, looks good. Quality. So I'm just going to do a few things. There we go. MTS. That's nice. It is. I mean, just looking at that trend, you're just taking your average, bang straight through. We're starting to get away from the MAs too, away from the averages. So you'd expect up here, I mean, that's on the weekly, a bit of a reversion to the mean again, maybe down to 280, but the daily is looking like it's holding that higher low. So yeah, it'll be interesting. If it is reversion to the mean, maybe we retest 25. We build a lower high and start edging back down with lower highs, lower lows, and then finding that longer term higher low, and then building that trend or that continuation off the weekly. Continuation, building the higher low down here, and then off she goes again. But either way, that's again, it's another good one too. Yeah, I thought so. Some good ones there. Now we've got I'll talk about Helen's SAS. Now I saw that, Nandor. That's what's it actually doing now? Oh, here we go. That's what I like to see. I've actually got this one from about 20, so I've held it for a while. 2021, so I'm about break even on this at the moment. We've had a couple of nibbles at this. We've had some very good goes, some positive moves on that, on some of the alerts. I'll just see what we've done. And then we got hammered, so I know. So that's one of our biggest winners on the SAS. We got it a while ago at 8.6 cents up to 17. It's nearly 100% gain on that, and then we lost about 20-something%. So we got nabbed on that one too, but I just want to see this one that's got a really good story. See if this can, I mean, look how much it's washed out and spent a lot of time, good part of, what, 8 months or so, after those highs, washing out a lot of these traders that bought it up through this move, you know, from 10 up to 29, so, and I think it's looking like, I mean, if this one can pop up, great, but I would expect more of a I would like to see that higher low build for a solid move higher. And if we do get, if this just pops up to the highs, I'm probably expecting that to back off from those highs. But if we get a higher low and more of contraction, I'll get rid of that. That's not what I wanted. Get more of contraction. So I'm meaning, say, a good strong move up rather than just this, bang, up. I don't think that would happen. Let's just go take one step. I'm expecting more. I'd like to see this because then you get some stronger buyers in there and take it from a high low and off we go. But we'll see. So that's a good one. We got Helen was looking at S32. This is what I don't like. Oh, that's not good. Now I've just got to find it. I don't know why it does this. The problem with S32, I can't. It's the only one I can't type in the code on it. Let's just try. There we go. We're gonna go there. Here we go. All right, we're back. Yeah, no, I completely agree. That actually, even on the daily, that's not looking. Look at that little move down. Am I on the daily? I'm on the weekly. Yeah, so the daily is starting to get a bit extended up towards that 345. But look at where the weekly is. The weekly, we've had, you know, when it started, it's had that big push down the dollar, and it's just started building, holding a high low through here, and kicked up to about $3. Washed out a few people, and it sort of contracted, but still held some high lows. Bit of a pullback here, pop back up to the highs at 3, back build a high low, high low, high low. So we're still holding high lows. And right where we are, we're still above the key high low around that low of 310. Just this here. I should draw it up. All right. Why does it give me that arrow? So you got high lows through here. You can just see this is a key one really at that 310 mark. So we've really just washed out some of this late buying. We spent a bit of time washing that out, but it's starting to look good. But you can see the strength in the selling down there. It's really gone to oversold, but it's holding up above that anchor level. And that's always important. It's always to take note that what's happening on the longer term, the shorter term, on the charts, what kind of pressure is being applied to the market. And you can see there's quite a bit of selling pressure here, but the buyers are soaking it up quite easily on the longer term, on the weeklies. And you can see it's potentially making a minor high low, just above, say, about 315. I think that what we're going to wait to see, what I'd like to see, is more that daily start building. If we can build a higher low, say in here, we have a bit of a pullback just to flush out some of these late buys, these buys in here, this little pop up, maybe even pop through 345, bit of a pullback, build a high low. That'd be a nice little one to get into, I'd expect. And I'd expect that run up and take out 370. But on the weekly, I mean, it's a very nice looking chart. All right, so we've got, so that's the emails we got through. We've got through all that. There's some good ones here. What we're looking at, what I thought we'd talk about also today, Davin just mentioned it before, is something called Ivy Coin. So anyone that's interested in cryptos, I think it's worth talking about. It's very topical at the moment. And we started doing a few alerts on them just to get some alerts out there and get some exposure on the cryptos. And then you're getting quite a bit of response. Say, do we trade them? Do we do this? Do we do that? So they're very topical at the moment, and there's some good gains to be made on it. It's probably a tougher one to trade. It's not as easy as just jumping on a platform and jumping into the ASX and away you go. And I think there's some, like the Bitcoin, I think it's Bitcoin Cash. I'm only new to this, by the way. Ethereum, and what was it? Dash is another one, another crypto. Sort of the bigger ones, the bigger boys. I think they're easier to trade than some of the smaller ones. But we started following it, and what we do like is sent out an alert yesterday on a company called CCA. They're Change Financial Limited. Now, this is a company, we'll go through their profile. Where is it? Here we go. Yeah, it's a very good question. Davin might be able to put a bit more info if he's watching now. And he hasn't got annoyed with me mentioning that my BPT's mine. a bit more info about how you go about trading them. And we're trying to put something together. He could probably explain a lot better. We might even do a bit of a stream about it down the track. But back to it. This is a company called Change Financial Limited, CCA on the ASX. That's its code. What they're into is an Australian company that's developed a digital banking platform via its wholly owned subsidiary Chimp Change LLC. The company offers consumer bank accounts. So it's like an online banking without the banks, the physical banks. That's what they're into. They're only relatively new, small, but what they bought into, and I couldn't find it yesterday, but I think they've got a 33% ownership into Ivycoin. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone knows about this or can find it. Crypto available next year. There you go. So we're actually in the process of doing that now with crypto. So we can have something up and running for you. This has been a long process we've been going through, just to try to take advantage of some hot markets and potentially some very good moves into 2018. So back to it. So we'll see if we can get some more info. Is that right, Dave? We'll get some more info down the track. We can get something out to you. If you can put up some more, that'd be great. All right, done. So it is 33% they own, these guys, CCA, into what they're calling Ivycoin. So Ivycoin's a new, we've talked about IPOs before, and we're just starting to get into that. Like we mentioned, but this is an ICO, initial coin offering. We've actually got into the ICO. It's not an ICO just yet, but it's seed capital for the ICO, which is going to be released, I think, in the next month or so. And it's a 10 cent, I think ICO is going to be at 10 cents. But I think the difference is they're going to be compatible with the finance, and that's why CCA is into it with banks. I think the banks have got a few little issues with a lot of these coins, and with crypto, is because of, I think, some of the risks associated with them as well. Yeah, they are very low cap. Some of the risks associated with crypto, and some of the, I think it's KYC, know your client, and how do you do that? So what CCA have done, or what Ivycoin's about, is your typical crypto, your blockchain, and I think they've got an extra layer on top of it. You can go to their website and read more about it. I think it's Ivycoin, Ivykoin. It was on the alert from yesterday, so you can always flick back to the alerts. This is XRP Ripple. Yeah, well, I think what it's got, unlike the others, they've got an extra layer on top of the crypto, within the blockchain, embedded within the coin, I think. You can read, like I said, read more about it, but there's an extra layer embedded that becomes compatible with the banks to be able to trade within the banks and trade. So I think what that'll do is open up a massive market to them, and it becomes less of a cowboy crypto and more of a standardized, I guess. Yeah, I don't know how I'm exactly trying to explain it, but basically, if the banks are going to adopt it, you've got to know that they've done their due diligence on Ivycoin, and I think it's got a lot of potential. And we're seeing this as a massive one, not only for us, but also for CCA, because if they got a 33% ownership into it, you can just imagine what they're going to do. And they've got obviously the platforms in place with the banks, the banking sector, with transferring money. So you can, I think the idea is to easily be able to transfer embedded KYC information, there you go, within the coin. So the idea is to be able to transfer your crypto and get it easily converted to cash, cold hard cash into your bank account. And if they can implement that, I think that's going to change the landscape of crypto and blockchain. But that's what we're hoping anyway. But I think this is one to definitely keep an eye on. CCA over 10K. There you go. So keep an eye on CCA. I think as a bit of there's a few companies around. We know, I don't know of others, but this one we obviously know about because of the Ivycoin. But yeah, just there's some companies who've got exposure to cryptos that's worth keeping an eye on and looking at. I mean, at the moment, this is a daily chart. That's all of their data you can see. Not much action into it yet. What I'd like to see is this hold a higher low. This is on the weekly, but it's getting a bit of a kick up now. It is, so it's obviously sold down to that, was it 50 cent mark. Started lifting, pushed up through the highs, I think when it floated, up towards that 90 cent, pulled back to 60 and held a high low again, just below that 60, 57.5. And now we've been holding high lows, bit of a washout. So we've got took out the highs again through 90 up towards $1, and then it got knocked down a bit, and it looks like we could hold a higher low again at 67.5, and this is on the daily, the weekly. If we can get that hold, that higher low, I think this little move here, we can get a bit of a buy, step them in off some higher lows, and as the news flows, and if Ivy Coin does all right, that's going to be very beneficial to CCA. Anyway, just wanted to put that out there to you. Is anyone into the cryptos? Does anyone follow them? I mean, it's hard not to follow them if you're on Twitter, if you're on all the different news feeds, because it's everywhere at the moment. And look, there is some great opportunities in there. I mean, look at Bitcoin. God, I'd love to see Ivy Coin kick off like that. Yeah, no, exactly. More legit and trackable. That's probably, yeah, we will do. What I want to try and do, Nando, is just get more alerts out there. I mean, I'm learning as I go too. I think everyone is. I'm not your typical geek. I like to say so. I only follow them from a trading point of view, but I think looking at some charts, and then I want to start sending out more and more crypto alerts on IG, but not trading them. Yeah, you can trade them. I don't know how many. Do you know how many you can actually trade on there, Helen, for the cryptos? I know they do Bitcoin for sure. I haven't looked at them recently to see what else they're offering. Where they're offering, I think it's, what did you say, Ripple? You got Bitcoin Cash. What else is it? Ethereum. Where they offer a whole range. I think the spreads are quite high too. Spreads are quite wide. So just be wary. You could get knocked around a bit if you trade them on IG. But we'll keep you informed of what we're doing too. And we'll just put it out to you too. We'll put it out through the app, and we'll obviously do streams about it. I think once we get up and running, we might do it. Yeah, we might do a nice little stream about it, just sort of dedicated on cryptos. And I think, Dave, you're going to have to get involved. We might get our IT guru too, to see if he can pop his head in and speak a bit about him. He's a bit shy though. He's very shy. But yeah, maybe we could talk him into it and get him on there just to talk a bit more about him. He might know more than what, unless that, or he just gives me the information or Dave the information. We can do a bit of a stream about it. So if there's some interest in that, let us know. Yeah. Yeah, okay. No, we will do. So just going back through some of those. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so I'm just finishing my coffee there. So we'll keep you up to date on the CCA. Just keep an eye out on those codes. Yeah. It is very forward thinking that allow you to create coins, tokens on top. Ethereum. Yeah. So, I mean, you're pretty much like us. We've just been watching it. I mean, you sort of watch it. I'm one of those guys, if you can trade it. I don't like to get caught up in the hype, say with what's happening in the past, but I think it's, you can't get around it now. You're probably going to have a go at some of them, and that's why we've got into the ICO. Actually, I'll let you guys know too. I've got to confirm, but we got in on Ivy Coin before the ICO, which is due out. So I'll see if I can keep you up to date. If you just remind me too, when the ICO comes out, and that'll be at 10 cents, I think. So you might be able to participate in that if anyone's interested. Just buy some parcels and that. I mean, it can't hurt if you can't. It's a risk reward, and some of these. I know in the past I've done a lot of IPOs when they were hot in the mining sector, and it seemed to be anything that was coming out was getting a bit of a run on because people have been booking profits. And I mean, this is back in 2000. What are we? 2005, 6, 7, something like that. Before 2007, I think it was. No, it was before 2007, 3, 4, 5, that sort of time frame. When the IPOs were kicking off, and it was more. Someone would start a company, stake some land, talk it up, float the company. It would run up from 20 cents to $1, or around about there. Have a good run up in the open, as long as they market it and talk it up right. And then it would back off and do nothing, and they'd sell their stake, or they'd sell off the company, or the land, or the plot. but they hadn't actually done anything to find out. They did maybe a few minor tests just to find out what's in the land, or they'd take a plot next to another company that's got some results and just say, we're right next to these guys who are pumping out this sort of stuff. But at the time, it was hot. The IPO market in mining and that was hot. So really, it was just a good way to make some money. And I see the ICOs, which are going to start building up as there's more ICOs floating, more cryptocurrencies coming out as ICOs. And because it's such a hot market, I think they're going to get taken up. That's what I'm expecting anyway. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But that's the way I'm viewing it. Yeah, you're right. There's no regulation, but it's just one of those things when the market's out there and it's hot and it's going to sort of lap it up. I think the opportunity is there, and it's worth, to me, it's the risk. It's all about risk management. And I think with for example, the Ivy coin, it's more of you're not risking a lot to jump into it. And if it goes bananas, then it's worth the risk. And it's such a hot market. Now, if it wasn't a hot market, it's like buying an IPO now, say in a mining company, it's not that hot, or another company, it's not that hot. The sector or the market's not that hot, then it's probably a bigger risk. It's got to be a good quality thing, it's a good quality company, good quality IPO, so you can see the longer term benefits. But when it's so hot, God, it's worth the risk anyway. That's the way I'm viewing it. But we'll see. Keep an eye on it, guys, because if it goes well, we'll be spruiking that for sure. But we'll let you know what's going on. All right, what else? So, is there anything else you want to look at quickly? We probably spoke a bit about it. Power Ledger IMO. The best examples of ICO worth a check. Aussie company, pretty innovative ideas. Okay. Yeah. It's just... Yeah, I think when there's a hot market, it's probably got to have a crack at it sometimes. Good old days. I don't remember any of that. Showing your age, guys. It's easy in giving Davin a bit of stick when he's not in the same state. He's bigger than me too. Alrighty, so if there's anything else you want to look at quickly, guys, unless we call it a day early, all the fun. Yeah, I know. This is the thing. There's been some good opportunities. I think the more I've learned about it, it's more of a risk thing, isn't it? Olden days. It's more of a risk thing. Just you're jumping in a hot sector. There's risk. I mean, there's risk involved in anything, but the risk reward, especially when you get into, say, the ICOs or what's hot at the moment, it's probably more of a risk of trying to get out when you book some gains. I think that's the bigger risk than anything else. But what's going to happen, where I see it with the ICOs and that, it's more the blockchain that's very, not so much what's happening on the ICOs, what's happening on the crypto, the coins. It's more the blockchain technology that's the big thing, and that's the market changer. And you'll find that there's a whole lot of exchanges opening up, crypto exchanges, this and that. Going forward, as things will probably get regulated, only the strong will survive, and a lot of them will fall by the wayside. And I assume it'll be a lot like the ICOs, the coins. It'll be the same sort of thing. They'll drop by the wayside, a lot of them, and just do nothing. But it doesn't mean you can't make money off them. If it's an ICO, it might float, bang, up she goes, you get out, just take it and run. Unless it's looking really good, it's got a solid one. That's what we like about the Ivy coin. It looks like the backing and the idea behind it, what they're trying to do and what they're achieving, is solid. But we'll see. CAB caught my eye too late. Cobb, we'll have a look at that. They run hot, so risk management in first quarter 2000, indeed the key to success. Yeah, agree with you, Paul. I think it always is too. Risk management is always the key. There's times, I think what Paul was saying is more tight risk management and just making sure you've got your risk management in place. Because I know I can guarantee you there's going to be people getting caught. If the market topples over and runs head south, people are going to get caught because when you've had, and I've seen it before through the GFC, I know people personally that stayed in when we got It wasn't the GFC. So when I was working years ago in the industry, our clients, we had a bit of a pullback. I don't know if anyone remembers before the GFC. It's some Asian crisis. We had a fund going, popped up. We ended up getting out when it got knocked over. We didn't get back in, and we got bagged for that, saying, okay, the market's hot. We didn't get back in. And okay, fair enough. It did keep going up. It got to all-time highs, but then it topped over, and we know what happened after that. We got the GFC, which tipped over. So what people have got is the complacency when you've had such a good bull run. They've just got complacent, and it's always going to head high, and they sort of forget about risk management because there's times when you can throw a dart at a dartboard, and whatever you hit, you can buy it and get it right. Not all the time, obviously. That's a bit of an analogy, but I think what they didn't have in place and what they weren't focused on was your risk management and the bigger picture. Always looking at the bigger picture of what's happening in the overall market, and we do that. At the start of every session, I think it's a good idea to get in the habit of just going through the charts, what's happening, what the risk associated to each market. I know Paul's talking about the start of next year probably tipping over, which could happen. It may not. It may just continue to grind higher. And it's also the risk of not being on board. On the flip side, not being on board if it just continues high and continues on strong. If you haven't got some sort of exposure to the gains to be made, I guess. So everything's about risk management, and it probably should always be about risk management. And I think the times when times are good, you can probably have looser risk management, but it's got to be there. You've got to know where you're going to hold your risk and what the risk is. Probably like now, it's not a bad idea to start. You can tighten up your risk management. Not getting out because you think things are going to tip over. Still trading what you see. Like I said, staying on the fence rather than being a bull or a bear. Trying to stay on the fence, be unbiased and say, okay, I'm seeing a good setup for a buy. Let's buy it. Just knowing that in the back of your mind that, okay, if this market tips over, I'm going to know exactly where my risk is. And it's probably worth holding tighter risk than looser risk. Does that make sense, guys? But yeah, you're right. It's about risk management. Know exactly what, if this tips over, and more of looking at the ASX and what's happening probably with the sectors too. If they start running out of steam and you see some higher lows pop up, especially on the index, and you see, let's say in the banking, or probably not the banking so much, but the sectors that are running hot, if you start seeing them failing and then popping up and making a lower high, okay, there could be an overall heads up that something's happening. And then just tighten up on your risk. Don't just bail because it could just hold up and then go again. All right, so I hope that makes sense to everyone. But again, we've mentioned this before. Trading is it's all risk management. That's all it is, really. Having your setup that you like and your reasoning behind it. And when we like to see, let's just go back to BPT. My trade. I'm going to mention that the whole time. So with this one, for example, I think it's probably a good example. We know, you look at that, the market's pushed down. We've had a big, strong move down, pop up, another strong move down, extended out. We started holding some higher lows and working our way back up again. All right, so that's looking great longer term. At this stage here, this is a setup. So if the market's hot, we don't know what's going to happen. But we know exactly, this has had a good run up, say, the last few months, say from July, holding higher lows, up. We seem to be consolidating here. What we've got potentially, this could run out of steam, it could pop up through 120 and then cave in after that. We don't know. So we've got to know exactly where our risk is. And we're happy with this one to hold nice tight risk around the 107 mark. So if it is going to play out like that, and we just maybe hold a lower high from here, just below that 120, and it rolls over and builds, your major lower high and just keeps heading south back down to, say, 80 cents, we know exactly where our risk is going to be and what we want to do and how we want to get out. But we're also giving ourselves the opportunity, if we're just taking that trade, knowing that this is still a healthy, good setup, good, strong setup. And this potentially, the probability of this setup continuing on higher is quite high. So I guess that's a good way of explaining that. This one, good continuation trade, everything's great, everything's working out nicely, but just in the back of our mind that, okay, if the overall market tips over, we'll probably find that will tip over. Oil drops, so on. Let me just decline that. No worries. So I hope that all makes sense, guys. That was a bit of a rant at the end, just to finish it off. You'll hear my daughter running in just a minute. She's got the phone, trying to keep it quiet, and it's ringing. She may have answered that. That would actually be interesting. All right, so we'll probably call it a day there, guys. Thanks very much for joining us. And again, thanks very much for joining us through the year and all the support you've given us on the streams and the people that doing the app too. I know there's quite a few that chuck up a like every now and then, and that's, just let you know that's much appreciated for what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to do with this stream and the overall with TradeSetup and our Trade Direct as well. And I hope you can all join us again next year. Hopefully we get on to bigger and better things. But like I said, anything that you think that could help it, that might be interesting to add, to whether it be the app or anything at all, feel free to send us an email, support@tradesetup.com.au. And yeah, we'll look at it. I mean, if it's worthwhile, it may take some time to implement. It may take some time to change. I know Paul's great because he's always sending out some stuff for us to think about. And some of them are tougher to implement, but some of them are easy, and we've actually done some good changes. So it's helped us a lot, and we're always appreciative of that. So hopefully we continue on another good year next year. We just continue on the same line as what we're doing, and we just keep growing, and see how we go from there. But thanks again, guys. Enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your break, and we'll be back in, like I said, on the 4th of January. So just take that time to relax, unwind, and then just maybe catch up on a bit of study you might want to do. Yeah, sorry, Paul. We will be doing that for sure. So we've got 4 trades open. We'll definitely be monitoring all that and sending out alerts if we have to. And if it does, like if they kick up high and we want to raise a stop, we'll just send you an alert. So we will keep in the loop in that, but it won't be your typical 5, 6, 7 a day. It might just be nothing for a couple of days, and then if something happens, we'll let you know. Yeah, guys, thanks very much. Thanks, John, and have a great Christmas. Enjoy your time off, and we'll speak to you again in the new year. See ya. Bye.